about ready to go to church. Here it's Sunday morning.
January the 10th.
Well, that's what it says on the camera. 8:57.
Yeah. Joe.
You guys are all dressed up.
Does that have a digital electronic clock?
Yeah, it's got a clock that'll show on the screen, so that when we look at this 10 years from now, we'll know what the date was.
It won't even last that long. Won't even last that long.
Well, you're all duded up and ready to go to church.
Duded up. Even got my vest on. First time I've had it on for a year.
Well, you're the greeter this morning,
Yeah.
aren't you? Is that the reason?
Yeah.
The other night on
Got to make them welcome.
on Jeopardy, one of the questions was what was it that the post office department quit doing in 1964, was it, or something? And two of the people of the three didn't know it. One woman, and they wrote down the hour and the minute that mail was postmarked. You know, they don't do that anymore. So.
Oh, they don't?
When the stamp through the tag.
They just do it on the date now, huh? Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
We used to think that was pretty important when you
Yeah.
tried to
You
make
better
midnight.
save that when Joe gets here this
Midnight.
afternoon.
Joe finally made it in from the Northland,
From the snow country.
the snow country up at Anthony's. Tell us how much it snowed up there.
We run anywhere from 12 inches to 16 inches.
My
Nashville.
golly. Well, Dad's already gone over a lot of the old history about Taylor School and all that down there in the country, and a little bit about some of his other escapades. He was going to tell us about the John Donato. Oh, the one where you almost rode with him
On the last airplane
on
ride.
the last airplane ride.
All right, you ready for a fish story?
It's a good one.
Yeah, well, I remember some of it.
They see they're having this, going to have the meeting at Oskaloosa, Iowa, and I was down here, and John said, "I'll send my plane down and get you." I said, "No, nothing doing. I'll come on the commercial." So I flew to Tumwin. He met me over to Tumwin. We went over to his office in Oskaloosa. And they had this meeting in the evening. It started at 7:30, and his office had an upstairs office too. And so we went up there to the office, and it was about 3 days before Christmas. When we come down, his office girl was keeping the office open downstairs just for all of us fellas. And she was demonstrating to another fellow that she knew. She had a little pocket radio, you know, like they give away. Just
Yeah.
about so little, how much noise it had. She had it run up so loud, it was telling about the weather. And the weather in Des Moines, there was an ice storm going through Des Moines, going southeast. Well, John earlier in the evening had told me that he was going to take these two insurance men to Minneapolis. They were insurance headed life insurance companies. And he said, "I want you to go with me." I said, "Why don't you wait till in the morning?" "Oh, no, they want to get there tonight." So after I heard this report that it was a travel about 20 miles an hour going southeast from Des Moines, when John came down, I said, "John, I'm not going to go with you because there's an ice storm coming through." And he said, "Oh, we'll get up above it in the plane." I said, "Now, I've seen you try to do that 2 or 3 times, and you don't get up high enough. You just can't get that high up." And he said, "Well, I've got to take them. They want to go tonight." So the 4 of us was getting ready to go out to the airport. I was going to drive them out and bring the car back. Got out to the plane. I'd left in it when we flew the different times to Florida. I had a set of coffee maker that you plugged into the thing and 6 glasses. And then they had an Indian blanket. I said to them, I said, "Well, now if you fellas are going to wreck this plane and tear it all up, I better get my coffee maker out of there." So I got the coffee maker and the 6 glasses. And then I happened to think of this Indian blanket. John said, "Well, aren't you going to leave us nothing?" "Oh, no, you fellas know smarter than to go this time of night." They was dead in 2 hours.
Yeah,
And of course Nancy thought I was going. I called her. I hadn't seen her. She lived in Blakesburg. I told him that when we got back, I'd give her a ring that we was going up there. Well, she heard on the radio or television that they thought the plane was down somewhere, and she thought I was on. And of course that's just how near it comes. So that was.
Well, you have a lot of close calls. You know something I've been wondering, I think I asked you once and you couldn't remember, is how'd you happen to come up with Joe's and my name? Where'd you get Danny Joe?
That was Mom.
Yeah, that
Oh, it was?
I've heard her tell it. If you wanted to offend her, just not say Danny Joe.
Yeah.
And I hate the word Danny with a passion, but she cried one day when I said I didn't like it. And if Danny was her idea.
Well, where,
Somebody had that name.
In the Doherty family.
Yeah.
oh, really?
That's the way she. I like her name of both. I got it.
Well, your middle name, you see, came from Raymond Doherty.
Well, and as I understood it, both my uncles, Raymond Doherty and Raymond Horn, were both named Raymond. So, but how about my first name? Where'd
That's
they?
Dad's idea.
I don't think it was. I think we done the whole thing, but I let her do the name.
Very seldom do I ever see anybody that spells it.
Yeah,
like I do.
right. We spell it. That was my idea. The way you spell it, easy to cook. Why I've seen them down here. They put a Dwayne and
D-U-A-N-E is
yeah,
the most
Dwayne.
common, but
Dwayne, it's something I'd like to get on, leave it on Dad. I'd like to get something on it. You remember the time, Dad, that Dwayne and I can't remember, in the 6th or 7th grade, you was working for some insurance company, and the Eversharps, that you made us sign her name and wouldn't tell us what we signed her name for. You remember where them come from? You remember, Dwayne? They was Eversharp, and I had mine, and it disappeared. It got away from it. But you had her sign her name on a piece of paper.
Oh yeah, they put it on.
Right.
Oh, that New York Live.
Okay.
New York Live.
I'd give anything if I hadn't lost that, Alan. You don't remember that one?
no. But I remember that as kind of a gimmick that some people would have. You could sign your name and then they'd reproduce it on the pencil.
Well, that's what Dad got them from the country. He won them. He gave them to us for a Christmas present that year. We had them in our sock.
Oh yeah, that's right.
In the whole paper last night, I told Dwayne as a thing, I started to read the story. You know, they write to the editor, and a fellow by the name of Harry Ogden, getting even richer. I couldn't think it. I went ahead reading it. He's told how when he was in high school he worked for Dick Eby at the Tribune, and then I happened to think that was the first life insurance policy I wrote. Even before I started writing for Bankers Life for New York, the Illinois Mutual. I signed up with him and just wrote 2 policies, and something made me mad. He was the first one. He worked in Dick Eby, and he's a little short fella. I hadn't thought of it. He's been away here 60 years, and he's in Oregon now. He said he's in good health, but he'd like to hear from some people. I hadn't thought of him, couldn't think who he was, till he said he worked for Dick Eby.
Doyle Anderson stopped me. Dwayne and I talked about it on the phone. They're wanting to put the ante room back on the front of Taylor
I
School.
think it should be.
Well, Dwayne said something to me about he'd like to assist, but we'd like to for it to come from you. They're wanting to hear from you.
Well, I give him $100 or something.
Well, Doyle told me the other day and went on if you had a picture. I went home and I thought I had a picture of me and Dobbin. Grandma Horn took a picture one time of me and the Dobbin outfit, but I can't find it. He wants a picture. They want to put the ante room on back just like it was.
Well, I think it ought to be that.
But Dwayne and I was talking about it, and as the
I don't
horns.
really, if it is, it's up and nose, but I don't think I've got a picture of it. I just don't. That she had one of those big Camrys, oh Lord, that big, for the biggest thing he's got his shoulder. And she had us in more poses.
You get them 2 pictures?
To get them done, that's what we said. And I said to her when she'd taken so many, I said, who in the world furnished the film for this? Well, said the paper does. Well, I said, my gosh almighty, you're taking so many pictures. Well, says they want us to take 20 poses, and then they pick out what they want. And of course, we all thought, expected it. I hadn't said nothing about it. I just told Alice they took a lot of pictures. I thought it'd be a big picture, and get that little thing. And of course, when it was reprinted, see, we got original from the
Yeah, that's what
Hutchison girls up in Michigan.
How big was the ante room? Doyle
About
stopped?
6 foot square.
No, it's 8 foot on the front on the school. I told him I thought it was square.
I think it's square.
Okay, one other question. Who was the teacher? The man teacher that we locked out?
Up in Clayton. Clayton.
Clayton.
Clayton Spurgeon. He's the only man teacher they ever had there.
No, when Dwayne and I was in school, Dwayne and I and Dave Bogle and Bruce Bogle locked the teacher out. He was a man teacher, and it made him mad, and he
Well, Stover, wasn't it?
busted the door into the alleyway. Remember the one that went in?
Yeah.
And we all got scared, run into the next one and wired it shut, and he drove a spike in it and busted that door. We never locked another teacher out after that.
Well, that was that.
What, was it Arthur Wable?
I don't know.
Well, they was telling up in Woods the other day, Arthur would have been the only man teacher after you got on the board.
Well,
Is that
Richard.
right?
No, Richard Stover. Is he the guy that was our hired hand for a
Yeah.
while?
Yeah.
Well,
He
Richard
died.
Stover was a
He's
teacher.
dead.
Yeah, but he was a teacher there.
Yeah, but you don't remember which
No,
one?
I don't. I don't remember. remember.
You remember Dwain?
Well, Stoker's the only one I remember,
Okay.
and Marvin Tharp.
Yeah, Marvin Tharp.
Was the teacher there?
I don't
No,
know.
when I was there.
Oh, wasn't he? Let's see.
Betty,
Stoker, it had to be Richard Stoker then.
Well, Betty,
Kathleen's sister taught there.
well, Betty,
Didn't teach me.
No.
Betty from down at Mart, Betty, I went down and was witness on their lawsuit years after that. I can't remember. Betty, I want to say small, but that isn't it. She taught.
Well, we had women, and then this one man teacher. You know, you couldn't get a woman teacher that one year. And I'll bet Dwayne's right. I'll bet it was Stover. But boy, he got mad and fired. He
Oh,
busted.
he's high
You
strung.
guys made him furnish the doors. He had to buy the 2 new doors.
Yeah.
After he
He-
busted.
he
But we
was-
never locked another teacher out.
No.
He was a high-strung.
Yeah, he just went crazy.
Yeah, he was high-strung. He was a worker.
Yeah.
I remember when he moved up
The other day, he shot his all-time best.
all-time best. Yeah. When I got home,
Birdies.
I got home from the Lions Club and been to the Gold Coat meeting in the morning and the Lions Club next, and I got my hair cut and I went to the bank and I knew Dwain was coming. Never thought about him when the golf. That time the sun had come out and he was just nice as could be. He was just as nervous when he come in the air. I thought something was wrong. He said, "Don't you think we ought to golf?" And I said, "My golly, I don't know. I haven't golfed for a long time." And my back had bothered me, and I happened to think, well, it hadn't hurt today at all, that's all. I said, well, I reckon we go. So going about so long was out there, and I thought, now I'll be such a poor player with Dwain, I'm pretty ashamed to go. And then you go ahead. Got out there, and he'd overshoot him.
He started out, he just parred the first hole and bogeyed the second hole, but then after that he had 3 birdies, well, no other bogeys.
Yeah.
So he ended up with a 52 on a par 54.
Good.
2 of them he chipped in. One of them he would have been off in the lake, but he hit
Hit
the
the
ball.
stake.
It hit the stake and just dropped straight down in the hole.
As long as he got it in there.
And the other, on the long one, he used the driver that he gave me last Christmas. And I hit the green, it went clear off down over like that, and I got out there, and it was the one that was a fast one. Come
Yeah.
up and hit the stake. I hit it too hard, clear up over that hill, and hit it and went dropping. You couldn't beat it. And then the other that we just changed on 16, I shot and it hit the water, but it was a low one, and it bounced 2 times, and it just got to the edge of the water. So we fished it out, and of course that was 1 stroke. Then when we laid it out, that was another stroke. Then it chipped that in for right
par.
off the bat, and so that made it a
Yeah.
par.
Yeah.
And then the last hole, the last hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was
pretty good round.
yes, sirree, best I've ever had.
Well, they've sure improved that course, even
Yeah.
though it's.
Oh, it's nice. And they charged the price just twice as much too.
Well, that's secondary.
Yeah, that's secondary. Well,
Have you got it on film, Dwayne, about him getting the VCR?
Oh,
Or the player?
No. Well, I guess not. We
No,
already talked
no.
about it.
I hadn't even thanked you all. That was aiming to do that, but not a little bit. But you kids all got chipped in and got me the VCR. Now, if I'm smart enough to run it, that's the next thing.
Well, the instructions come with it from
I
Dwayne.
can't read instructions. I started to put a heater together the other day. One of those looks like a radiator. And Alice was looking at the instructions. She said, "Did you look them?" I said, "I can't read the instructions." So I was putting them together.
Now, Dwayne,
Thanks a lot.
tell us how the idea came about that you got wind that that's what he wanted.
Well, I think Alice is the one that mentioned the possibility, but she,
Well, that's what you told me.
yeah, that might be kind of nice. She'd heard that we got this camera,
Yeah.
and these things are neat because we can, well, like, I presume you won't make it to Brian's wedding, but we'll take the camera
Sure.
and then just send you a tape, and you can attend the wedding on
Okay.
tape.
Right.
And I brought down a tape of our Christmas get-together, and he got to see all of the great-grandsons out there.
Yeah.
We had all 5 of them one night.
Well, the way this thing started, I've been thinking that I'd buy one of these VCRs. Didn't know sick of about it. And I was studying and this and that. They advertised over here between here and Lake.
Well, here we are out on a kind of a cloudy morning here in Winter Haven.
Kind of cold too.
Yeah. Well, tell us about this orange tree, Ed.
Just further around where the condominiums are. And this orange tree was over there. And I knew the orange tree because I'd gone and picked stuff off of it. When they come in to push them out, I had them bring me over an orange tree and set it out about 10 years ago.
10 years ago?
Yeah.
Boy, you got to show us some of the fruit on there.
Oh, nice. It isn't,
Yeah.
it isn't as big a crop as we generally have. You just walk around and you just come around. And the freeze up here, the freeze would kill one limb. That's what makes that hole. And it killed 2 pine trees. This bush in the corner, it killed it down to the ground.
What year was that?
Oh, about 4 years ago. Some of these are big. Look in here. Here's a different kind. It looked like a grapefruit.
Huh. 2 different kinds of oranges on the same tree?
3 different. They grafted them on, and I knew that. And so when they told me I could have one of the trees, then they brought it over, and then I had to get some help to set it out. We didn't have a hole dug.
Oh.
And then to get it into place, we took a big hay rope that one of the neighbors had, fastened it around the tree. It was about that much dirt, and we just hooked the car on it, put it in super glue, and slid it off in there and covered it up.
So now you got an orange
Now
tree.
we got an orange tree.
Well, we'll go take a little tour around the city.
Swing right around there and show these things. This is getting a little too high. See these.
What do you call those?
These poinsettias lost their leaves. My gosh, I can't believe it. Isn't that awful? But that one, we're going to have to cut it down. They're supposed to be just about this height, and they were every color.
Oh, yeah.
Alice?
Well, we'll find out.
Senator went in, you know. We used to tell everyone it's the oldest orange grove in the country. It was the first one, they said.
We was here with you when they get ready to build it. Remember that church in the
And then this is their condominium here, see.
And Leon lives in the other.
Yeah. It's the one that's going broke. Boy, they just got it.
What broke to the time, didn't it?
Well, it's broke, period. And they're just trying to run it to get a buyer. And they thought they had a buyer for half price. And he couldn't come up with enough money, so they lost that.
What's these white birds? The highways are just covered yesterday up in the orange.
They call them water birds. That's the little restaurant that we used to have. See how big that thing is?
Yeah.
255 rooms. Now, you can't imagine any one of them building. That
Leon's in there.
Yeah. The big thing, they started in, they were going to have $2,200 a month to the other side and 18 to this side. Now they've cut it down to about 17. I'll just turn in here like it's going to the bank. See, Barnett put an additional bank up here.
When we turned the corner, Kathleen said there's Barnett Bank. I said, oh, no, it's not. It's down. She said, I can read a sign. I said, well, I know it ain't the main
I
bank.
want you to know they built this in no time flat. I mean, they brought it in, one of those, the center was set up,
Oh, yeah.
and in 10 days' time, they was full
Running.
service. Oh, it's just unbelievable. And see all of these. Now, this was just an orange grove, and the big grocery store is over there, Winn-Dixie, and Eckert's, and so First Rider. Now, here's the one that's been the top interest-paying place, right down here. It's Beneficial Savings Bank, their bank. And they're from New Jersey.
But if they got savings on it, then the savings part of the insurance.
Hey, what?
If they've got savings, like that savings bank, they don't go into the federal insurance of the bank
Well,
part.
they do down here.
Nope.
They're FDIC insured.
Yeah.
You're sure?
Sure, I'm sure. You betcha.
There's a big piece in the Wall Street Journal that says they're not. It says anything.
Well, how about the Davis County Savings Bank? All its life it said Davis County Savings Bank. I don't think that savings is where you now. Here's the theater that's got 10 screens or 7 screens. And they just come in, stand in a row. You can't believe it.
The crows. I'll never get out there and see crows, but I think it was a story. A preacher told his name was Joe McCoy, and he said he went to Georgia one weekend to a friend at his church. He said he got there early, and he said, "You want to go crow hunt?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, sure, let's go crow hunt." So he said they went out, and he said, "Well, you want to shoot or crank?" He said, "Well, I don't care. I suppose I'll shoot." So this guy opened the trunk of his car and pulled out a crow and got down on his knees and stuck the crow between his knees and one wing in each hand. And started cranking them wings. That crow started squalling, and here come the crows. Joe said, I technically couldn't shoot. He said, if you can't shoot, you get out there and crank, and I'll shoot.
Think what valuable lots those are going to be. Oh, it's right down to the water. Now, we don't know whether they're going to be business or not. Now, this is a pizza house.
Big commercial, this close to home.
And you talk about a good building, they have built that thing just as good as any northern building ever was. Now, let me tell you, they've done a good job. This is really...
When you guys, I guess it was built after you came here, wasn't it?
Built up.
That's the first one I owned.
These are past the tourist club.
Well, not yet. In addition for the women and all of that, and the parking lot, you ought to see what they spent on the parking lot. I just want to take you down in there. I won't and we park out there as gold coaters, so and that's their parking lot. To get across that thing on
That's
one,
good, yeah.
and that's of a night they come through there, boy, you got to watch. I pretty got hit. I tried to come on this side one night before they'd fixed the parking lot. Boy, I pretty got hit. They bought that building, this part of the hospital.
So you got a turn signal there.
So, but just look at the flowers, and the vines, and the trees. They set all those trees out. It's going to be a forest. And those trees will be the problem of cleaning up. They bought this big house and all of that, and there's that hospice. You know, that's their insurance. And they've got a hotel out there for the people that comes here and goes on it.
You know, they have a motel for people to stay who maybe have relatives in the hospital.
But it's mostly the people that works for them.
Oh.
But it mostly is. And look at people go with, now look at there in his shirt sleeves this one. Now
See them pants that guy's got on?
Yeah.
Oldsmobile's got a collar, not printer ball there.
Now see these cement things, that's where the big scanner sets, one under each one of them. The 4 feet of concrete. And here's the emergency where I worked for 4 years. So but the parking is the biggest thing in the world. But I told them when there's a buying that down there, they bought it for $1.25 million. And at the meeting they told us they thought they'd buy it. I said, man, you better build one out here. Time you get that ready. Then they had to spend $2.5 million on it after they bought it. And now they've got it, people will come, they'll come, and then they've got to go down there, you know, and it's just a doggone nuisance. But just look at the parking is something now. Like here, these are people working there. It's parking just along the street. Now they've got parking lot there, but the crew that comes on at 10 o'clock, they have to prepare for them.
This club.
You down there, you know, you're right there.
It looks like they've fixed it up a little.
Well, not a lot. They handle it completely different.
I was there once, met that guy from Davenport or somebody raised corn down the
Oh yeah.
grouchy old pup.
Yeah, he's dead now, and his
Is he?
wife's in a home.
Al said Leon's not very good.
Well, for his age, he's better than I expected.
Is he?
She got in there that just can't believe it. They sold those things for $50,000. And they just sold them right and left. And they're 2-bedroom, 2-bath. But you know what gets me is the pickups. And, now those are panels, some of them. But they just have so many and everything. Who buys them?
Well, lots of people use them for car. You can buy the license for that for $45 in Iowa, and the car's $149.
Oh.
They claim over 50% of the pickup, they're squawking trying to get raised right now in Iowa. That's wearing a $45 tag that was supposed to help the farmer is some guy in town using it for a car. Then you can't blame him. Well, Dwain's got a pickup.
Well, yeah.
Well,
But in Nebraska, there isn't any difference.
What do you suppose, 85% of the people got a pickup for an extra Dwain?
Now that's the ballpark down
Yeah.
there.
Boy, they are. They're putting the steel framework over the top.
And they're building a new
Fixing
main
her up.
office building. They've had an awful fuss about it. Here's Rick, Burger Queen, the clock restaurant here. And the people out here is the one that I had to pull my car in, work down there. There where it says Auto Service Center.
See, in Nebraska, there isn't any difference, Joe, in the license.
No, they're not.
Plus, you pay personal property tax on your vehicles.
Well, you do that here, don't you? You do in Arkansas?
No.
No.
Now, this is quite a shopping center. It's getting bigger all the time. But did you notice when you come down the other night, Dwayne had a new store at this big shopping center? This J.
Yeah, it's a store I'd never heard of.
Man, I tell you, it's a big condominium now. I believe 22. It's surely not going too good because they were going to build some more down there just like it, make it bigger. They've got the ground clear down the lake and they haven't done that yet. But they done a grand job of renovating. You know this renovating's an art. It's a cost sure.
Oh, yeah.
But go in there and that thing's nicer than it was back in the horse and buggy days, by golly.
That was the main resort, and they got
That
a
was the main
McDonald's
look.
right
The
next to
livery
it.
stable was right across the way, and the Pontiac garage was in the livery stable. And their stalls, you can see where the horses had kept on the stalls. When you drive your car in there, I bought that red Pontiac there, and I just marveled at the pictures of those. Now this is the Collins restaurant. I don't know how we ever got to come here after Sambo's. We just kind of.
There's the one right there.
Yeah.
You gave up on Sambo's?
Well, Sambo's changed their name.
Oh, yeah, they changed to Village
Well,
Inn.
I thought they had one here. They got one over there. And after clear down there, by golly, right in front of the what you call it. And I was in the back seat when it come to. And he was going to run off and leave me. And he got clear down here and met the policeman, and he knew most, or saw the policeman over there. He knew most. He saw it, so he thought he better stop.
If you hadn't wrecked that Mercury, you'd still be driving.
Well, might have
As bad as you hated it. Is this thing still going as good as it?
Well,
They thought it was
the
gonna
one preacher left, but his brother come to take the place. He got an eye for some girls. That's what he said. He went to Canada, and his brother come from Texas. Like it seemed like we went there on Sunday night, but they string it out. They started at 6:30, and at 9 o'clock they hadn't started preaching yet. They
Oh, I
just
can't think
everybody had to sing and talk about it.
I can't think that.
And boy, it just lasted long. I said, I'm not going to come in. They had it too cold. I could tell my nose was stopping up, so I said, I expect we won't go back there.
Next time we're down there, there'll probably be a big motel or something on that corner.
You think they've just fenced it to keep people out while
Oh,
they're
we
building?
don't know about the
I
fencing.
say that's what Dwayne thinks.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what that may be, but I can't imagine if they're going to build
Why would
all
they?
the trucks are having to come to here to go in there. I just can't imagine that.
I'll bet they build something big.
There's a guy running around out in there this morning.
Well,
What's he the guy that's doing the dozer rake?
yeah. But why they stopped at that corner down there, I reckon they...
corner of the lake, isn't it? The local
No, see, they didn't do the corner. I think they're afraid there's a bother in the walls. See, the wall's a cement wall, and as they tear those big trees out, and if they damage it, the city will make them.
Well, if they damage that, they got to repair it.
Yeah, and I just imagine that's what they thought they were doing, because that much weight on sand, I can't imagine how they got it that close.
What were you talking about yesterday, Dwayne? You said, show Joe that house.
What happened?
I don't know. You said.
Oh, that big house they built on the way down to the church.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We'll show you that.
They're all congregated at the end of the house.
Yeah.
Well, here we are back at the ranch,
Ranchero.
Chero. Full of coffee.
full of coffee and
Have heartburn for 3 hours.
Yeah.
ready to last the rest. Where I am at the Tampa airport, getting ready to head back north. Had a real good visit with Dad and Alice, and Joe and Kathleen. It's kind of silly to leave all those palm trees and green grass to head back to Omaha. This Tampa airport's kind of unusual. Take these little monorail cars out to the boarding area. Here comes one of these little cars right now. Pick me up. I'll be home by 5 o'clock, I hope. So I'll ride this little machine out to the airplane. I think I'll head for Omaha. We are flying up over Atlanta. Snow down there. What kind of picture this will get. Right up over Atlanta, right out beyond that wing where that engine, the stone